Yeah,
Okay,
free
we're
dance
live.
lesson.
We're not.
It's
Oh,
not there yet.
It's not there?
Okay, wait.
it's coming.
I think someone's saying. Hi everyone. Welcome back to another edition of the YouTube Live. My name is Agnes Who. I am currently a senior here at Smith College. I'm a history and sociology double major. I use she/her pronouns. I'm from New Jersey and I live in Wilson House.
Hi, I'm Madison Williams. I'm a statistical data science major with an environmental science and policy minor. I live in Wilder House, and we're actually in my living room right now. And I am part of the class of 2021, so I'm a sophomore. And we have a guest today, Tari.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Tari. I'm a sophomore, class of 2021. I live in Duckett House, she, her pronouns, and I'm a theater major. Happy to be here.
Yay, welcome. So today we'll be talking about academics very generally. If you have any questions about anything academic, please feel free to send them in earlier on. Later on is fine, but earlier on we can help answer more questions that way. So at least for me personally, I came into Smith super undecided about what I wanted to do. I came in and I was like, I have no idea what I want to do. And that was really fine. I think what I really appreciated about Smith was the open curriculum, which is basically the idea that at Smith you do not have gen ed requirements like many other schools have. Basically that means like you only need to take one thing within your first year, and that's a writing intensive, and that can be really easily fulfilled via various different classes. So for me that was a really good way to explore a lot of different classes.
I was kind of the opposite.
Oh, really?
When I was doing my college search, I was like, I want to be an international relations major.
Oh,
And I saw the
wow.
5 college international relations degree, and I was like, I'm going to do that. And so I signed up for French because you have to take at least 2 years for French for the international relation degree.
Cool.
But quickly I realized I was so tired of French that I just dropped it, and I was like, I'm gonna do something I actually love and do something that I feel like will make me happy and not my family happy. So I went towards theater instead, and that's what I've been doing ever since.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
Nice, that worked out well. So I started Smith wanting to be an engineering major.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah, yeah. That's what my family said too. And so I wanted to do like environmental engineering, and I really liked Smith's engineering program, so I did that my first semester. And then calculus was rough, I can say, really. So then after that, I tried computer science because I had a lot of comp sci, like senior friends and stuff, and they were like, do comp sci, do comp sci. So I did it, and I liked coding, but I do not want to be a software engineer. But I was like, I really like coding, and I want something kind of like applicable, and I would still like to do like something in an environmental field. And so I heard about statistical data science.
Yeah.
I took it, which is like math and data science, and it's like pretty applicable to a lot of different fields, I'd say. And I took some classes at the beginning of this year, and I was like, dang, I like this stuff. And so I declared it as my major with an environmental minor.
Yeah. For me, I am a history sociology double major. I had, I think, a little bit of an inkling that I was interested in history, but I came in like literally not knowing what sociology was. A friend suggested that I take the intro class, and I did, and I like very quickly fell in love with the major, and I ended up suddenly a major. Literally had no idea that was going to happen. And I think the really cool thing about Smith also is that it's like pretty easy to do a couple of different things, whether it's double major or major minor or do a concentration or a 5 college certificate. There's just a lot of different arenas in which you can learn about so many different things.
Yeah.
And because of the open curriculum, you can definitely do a double major pretty easily. So Vivian's already sent in our first question. Thank you, Vivian. Which is, how does course registration work? Is it hard to get into the classes you want to take? How about you guys?
Oh, I'd say it's not too bad. All of our course registration is online. We recently switched to a different system. When you get here your first couple days of intro, you'll talk to your SAAs, which are your student academic advisors, and they'll teach you the whole process for registering. I think our course catalog is up now for this fall. Yeah.
I'm
so,
a senior.
Oh yeah, it's up for the
Goodbye.
fall if you want to start looking at courses, but no rush. It's a pretty easy process. You do it all online. The only thing I'd say is first year, there are some classes that are more difficult to get into. Like if you want to do a higher level class or a high demand class, there's just some classes that are really fun, and so everybody else who's registered is already in it. But I'd say first year, I got into all my first semester, I got into almost all the classes I wanted to get into.
Not my experience.
My first year, I got into all the classes I
What?
wanted to, because I always make it a habit to wake up really early, open 2 different browsers, and once the portal opens, I just start signing up quickly in 1 minute, and I have the numbers, course numbers, copy and pasted.
Yeah, I definitely think there are lots of horror stories about people who don't get into their desired classes, which is what happened to me. Or I don't know, I had this, I think spring semester of my first year, I did not, they say that you should have, for the old system, I think this new system works better, but for the old system that was outdated, I didn't download Firefox or have Internet Explorer.
Wait, no,
And-
Firefox or Internet Explorer?
Wait, no, wait. So, I tried to use Google Chrome for my course registration, and of course it didn't work. And I was like, I have no other choice but to download Firefox right this minute during course registration, and it was bad. But I did get into most of my classes, if not all. The other ones that I didn't get into were mostly because they were high demand, and I got into them later as a junior or a senior instead. So I think even if you don't get into the classes you think you really, really want to, sometimes that's kind of a blessing, because you'll figure, you'll take something else and you'll figure out that you might actually really enjoy it. So
I feel like
Whatever
there's a
happens.
lot of flexibility in our schedule too, because we don't have any other prereqs, and so I feel like we get a lot more time to figure things out, change majors, take a class later. So if you don't get into a class, it's not the end of the world. You can definitely still pursue a certain degree, even if it's a major requirement. I'd say things are pretty flexible here course-wise. I switched my major 3 times, and
oh
then,
wow.
you know,
What'd you switch it from?
well, from engineering, comp sci, now I'm
Right.
data science, but I'm still gonna graduate, and I
Yeah.
feel with other schools with prereqs that would be really
Yeah,
difficult.
gen eds would make it impossible
Yeah.
to have that time and space to explore.
That's actually one of the reasons I chose Smith, the open
Oh,
curriculum,
yeah.
because I knew I
Yeah.
wanted to take different classes and not do math
That
ever
was-
again.
That was a big draw. I should have known I didn't want to do engineering when I was oh yeah, I'm here for engineering, but I want tons of other options. But it's really nice to have that kind of movement and flexibility,
Yeah,
especially with the 5 colleges, and you can even try majors we don't even have. And
Yeah.
take classes in that.
Yeah.
Too.
Beyond just the majors offered here at Smith, there are different minors as well, but also there are different concentrations, which the majors don't necessarily touch. There's a book studies concentration, which isn't a major, but is still something you can do. There's an archives concentration. There's a bunch of really cool different concentrations, and the 5 college certificate is similar in that there's very specific things, you mentioned the international relations one. Is that the
Yeah.
5 college certificate?
Yeah.
I know another popular one is there's a 5 college certificate on reproductive justice, which a
Yeah.
lot of my friends and the study of women and gender major, I've done that.
Yeah, so there's so many different, more kind of specific niche kinds of things that you can do as well, in connection to your major. So I think it's really great that there's just so many options.
I think we have some questions.
Yeah.
Uh,
Do you want to read
ooh. Oh, how is the math department? Okay. Have you guys? No, just me.
My
Okay.
I've
Senior
taken
year.
one math.
I guess it's just me. Okay, my thoughts on the math department. I really like the math department. Right now I'm taking discrete math, and then my first year I was taking calculus. I'd say there's a lot of help available in the math department. We have the Spinelli Center, which is a tutoring center that's open during the day from 9 to 5. And then there's also TA hours every night from 7 to 9 with some student TAs and also some TAs who have already gotten a bachelorette in math at another university, and they're there to help. I found my teachers to be really great in the math department. They've always been really helpful with like having good office hours. And any other help. I'd say the math department is like wonderful, and a lot of my friends who major in math here at Smith really like it. For me, who's like interested in math but not like I wouldn't say it's my top strength. It was really nice to see like how much support there was. I really liked the class sizes because they were usually around like 20 to 30, which is nice for a hard subject. And my professors were always just like really attentive and nice. Like if I didn't do well on a quiz or something, my professor would be like, "Hey, could we talk later?" Which isn't, you don't always get that, and I really appreciated it.
Yeah. I took statistics my first year. I think a quick disclaimer I have to make is that I'm really bad at math. So I definitely struggled. But I think overall, like, to me, it's really interesting as a humanities and social science person now, like, how the labs operate and, like, I don't know, it's just a very different experience than like the humanities, social science experience, I think. But overall, like, I found that like my fellow students and my professors were super supportive. So that's been my general experience.
Awesome.
It was also a long time ago. I'm old. Yeah.
How difficult is it to manage a double major in two difficult STEM subjects such as biochem and neuro? Is it worth the pressure?
I mean, I'm not a STEM person. I have a lot of friends who are in STEM. I have a friend who does neuroscience and psychology. She's gonna make fun of me for calling her a friend. So I think it depends on you. That's like a cop-out answer, but like I think you have to kind of figure out with your major advisors, like how would you handle that? What kind of classes would you take? Is it possible if you want to study abroad or something like that? I think it really depends on you, and like I think you might have to look at it a little bit earlier on. I know a lot of people who like don't really think about really making sure that they really get every class in because they know they probably will until maybe the end of their sophomore year, but you may have to do it a little bit earlier depending on the requirements of your major.
So what I would say, specifically with biochem and neuro, I have met biochem and neuro double majors here, so it is possible. The thing I would say though is if you want to double major into have STEM subjects, there's a lot of like prereqs with STEM, like you have to just go kind of incrementally. So I think if that's an interest to you, I would start planning early and talking to your advisor about those interests. You'll get assigned an advisor usually like the first week you come here for orientation.
Yeah.
But that's really helpful. It takes a lot of planning, and I would say it's something that you kind of want to start on your first year, just with like prereqs and getting everything going, because it'd be difficult to start like a chem major if you don't start taking the intro chem class till your sophomore year. And so it's definitely possible, but it will require some planning and some good work with maybe your class dean or your advisor.
Yeah, definitely just plan ahead, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually that advisor that you get assigned to initially is called a liberal arts advisor. So they are there more generally to like direct you towards like what kind of classes you might want to be thinking about. Your liberal arts advisor will generally but not always be in the department that you indicated interest in. I indicated interest in history, so I did get an advisor who was from the history department, but that's not always the case. But generally, they will be able to help you in general.
Yeah.
When I got in, I said I was going to do French because of international relations. So my liberal arts advisor was a French
Yes.
French professor, and when I dropped French my first year, I felt so bad because he was right there. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I did take French again, but like, it wasn't the same because I knew I wasn't going to major.
So it doesn't always work out this way. I was interested in engineering, and I was assigned to an advisor whose major was Russian literature, which wasn't super helpful to me, but she was really nice.
Yes.
She's no longer my advisor. The summer between my sophomore year, she just retired and did not tell me.
I'm
But
shocked.
it was fun while it lasted. I will say that.
Yeah. But what happens is that usually when you decide, like, you want to major in something, sometimes it's your liberal arts advisor, sometimes it's not. For me, it was not. I ended up asking another person in the history department to be my major advisor. So yeah, that was. Have you guys declared yet?
Yeah, I declared last semester, and my advisor, I've never had a class with her, but I did a show with her, and I was like, hey, could you possibly be my advisor? She said, I'd love to. And
Oh, yeah.
she's super sweet.
Yeah, I met my statistical data science, my advisor, through actually like my intro stats class. It was really funny. He started teaching here this semester, and I really enjoyed his class. So I was like, oh yeah, would you be my advisor? And he was like, oh yeah, totally, I'll be your advisor. And he was like, first advisee. And I was like, oh, great. But it's really cute.
Yeah.
I love him.
Yeah.
He's so sweet. And then it depends kind of on the department with how they advise. Give you an advisor. For mine, you had to like ask a professor, but for the environmental one, which is how I got my minor advisor, I just emailed somebody and they were like, this is your advisor now. And she's really nice too. So
Yeah, I think, I mean, it was really scary to ask the professor to be my major advisor. I mean, I had to do it twice, because if you double major, you need to do it 2 times, so that's 2 different nerve-wracking times. But like, it went really smoothly, unless they really have way too many advisees. That might be the only reason that they would reject you, but it's definitely not a personal thing. And for the most part, I've heard of it all working out quite fine. And also, if you want to, you can change major advisors too. That's a possibility. And personally, in terms of how often I meet with them, I don't meet with them super often in like a advisor capacity. I kind of like walk into their office and be like, what's up? Like, let's chat. And not necessarily in like a super formal way. But your relationship with your advisor is really up to you, is what I would say.
I meet my advisor like whenever I have a question, and
Yeah.
like since I'm going abroad, I need to like start
for
planning
sure,
for my
yeah.
honors right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so-
So yeah, we have another question here about applying as an undecided major, but just figured out that they wanted to double major in interior design and something else, but they think there's only an architecture major, right?
there is an architecture
There's an
major,
architecture major.
but I have not heard of interior design.
Yes, okay. I don't know anything about the architecture major, honestly, but it is a thing, and I think it might be more useful for you to maybe email someone, like a professor or something, in the architecture major, or
My friend majors in architecture. It's like cross-listed, I think, under the art.
is it art? Yeah.
Yeah, it's cross-listed under the art major. So what I would do is email the art department. If you like go on our website, you should be able to find the heads of each department. And I would just email them and ask them a question. I did this like before I attended to like the engineering department, and it's always really nice. They're always super sweet, and they're really like love to hear questions from incoming students. So I would definitely recommend that, and they should give you all the information you need.
Okay. We have another question about someone who's interested in doing a Romance languages minor at Smith. With Smith's open curriculum, would it be possible to put together this minor working with professors?
Well, the French department, they don't have minor, unfortunately. It's only a major. That's
Yeah. I honestly don't know a lot about this, but there is kind of like a create your own major option. I've heard of people doing it. I genuinely don't know a lot about it, but it's definitely a thing. I think you would definitely have to talk to a couple of different language professors about doing that and seeing like what you could work out. But I think you could probably do something along those lines if you
Yeah.
wanted to.
I'd say a good person to contact is either maybe if there's a specific language you're interested in starting with, I would contact those department heads. I think that could be really helpful. Or you could also look up our class dean's information. I'm sure the first year class dean would have plenty of information on how to like design a major, and maybe there's a program that they know about for that minor.
I have a quick question. I'm curious to hear from you guys. What was your favorite class here at Smith?
Ooh, okay.
Or should I give you a second to think?
I got some. So while I am a stats major, my favorite classes have been in the Africana department. I'd say my number one was my first year seminar. It was called Black Power Movements since the 1970s. And it was all about like Black Power, Black protest, all these different movements. It was so good. It was a really great history class. I love history too. And I would definitely recommend it. All the first year seminars are so interesting.
Yes.
And I also took another class that was about the civil rights movement, and so it was history from the 1950s, or African American history from the 1950s to the 1970s, and that was really good too. And that professor I love, and we have a great relationship now, so I really liked that.
I have two on top of my head. This semester would be my Africana class called Race, Resistance, and Feminism, and I love it. The teacher, they're awesome. The readings are really interesting. And last semester, I took an opera history class because my first year seminar was about opera. So I was like, I need to know more. So I took one with the department, and the teacher there, she is so awesome. In our final project, we did, we had to write the history of an opera we selected, and then write about how we direct that opera, and I loved it so much.
That's really cool.
I think I'm gonna take more classes with her when I come back from abroad.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So, I took kind of like this really infamous first year seminar that everyone knows about. It's called Reacting to the Past.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
yeah, I know, whatever. We got a reputation.
Yeah,
It's
no,
real.
don't they like call each other like reactors or something? And like,
I don't know.
okay.
Anyways, okay, the idea of reacting to the past is that you're basically doing historical role play for credit in college, and it's really fun. I thought this was a class that really pushed me. I was really quiet in high school and I didn't really enjoy public speaking at all, and this class made me do like public speaking like every other class, which was kind of awful at first, but I really learned a lot very quickly. This was a class that really made me like get on my just everything, and it taught me a lot about writing too, and it was such a great experience. I've never felt so strongly about ancient Athenian politics. Like, I just never thought a day would come where I cared about ancient Athenian politics, but there I was, like, about to yell at someone about their opinions on ancient Athenian politics.
Oh my God.
So, highly recommended, of course, blah, blah, blah. You guys were like, but I think it was a really fantastic class. I'm also taking horticulture right now, and, like, if you just like plants, highly recommend this class. My professor Gabby is like the chillest person ever, and I love her so much, and I would die for her. Okay, but anyways, she's super cool. We just get to work with plants so often, and it's just a really nice way to just kind of relax and get free plants.
Ooh.
So
Yes.
that's where we're at. Okay.
Oh, there's a lot more questions than usual.
So general advice about starting as a first year. It's scary, and like it is. Like, I think the thing is that like everyone's trying to play it like as like they're chill, but everyone's scared. Like, you are not alone. I remember coming in and being like, I'm the only person here who's scared. Everyone else is like so happy already. That was not accurate, is what I learned. I think realizing that everyone else is scared, realizing that like there are people around you that you can definitely reach out to. That's my biggest advice. Like, do put yourself out there. It's awful and it's scary, but like it'll be done soon.
I feel like Smith does a lot of work too to try to make it like more welcoming. Like, we have like little, I don't know, there's like that week before they start, I don't know, pre-orientation or orientation, and they have a bunch of activities. Mine was like a Zumba class for 2 days.
Love that.
And it's like a really there's a lot of dancing, yes.
Yeah.
But it was really fun, and you like meet all different kinds of people, and you meet a lot of people in your house. There's a ton of meetings at the beginning, and you get to do some little like house traditions and things. So I know when I was thinking about this, I was really scared about like not making any friends. But like, you meet so many people. Even if the
Yes.
friendships aren't like lifelong friendships, you'll definitely find people to like eat
And
lunch with and like talk with and get to know.
Yeah, definitely.
I my first year, I did bridge, and
Me too.
yeah, and there I met, in my group, we were separated into different groups, and in my group, I found a person who also lived in my house, and my house is like really tiny, so we just became, and so we're still friends, we were even roommates last semester, and it's just like, that first week is where you can make some really great connections that just continue.
Just in case you don't know, Bridge is our pre-orientation program for students of color. So they can apply during the summer, applications will come out, and you can come a week early, you get to meet different people, meet some, like, people just mainly get to bond with other incoming students of color before. And if you are coming for Bridge, you'll see me, because I'm going to be a Bridge leader, so that'll be fun, and we can hang out.
Yeah, highly recommend you check out, quick plug, smithbysmithies.tumblr.com. Madison and I are the moderators, admins, one might say, for this blog. It's basically an aggregate blog of the Smith experience from many different perspectives of many different students. Lots of them have given advice on stuff like this, on like finding spaces to make friends, just coming into Smith and feeling nervous about that. So I highly recommend that as a great resource for you guys to check out, to just learn more about how people felt when they came in, knowing that they also had similar experiences. Yeah. So there's a couple of questions about the pre-med, pre-health programs here at Smith. Do you guys know anything about that?
No. I see there's a question about the engineering program, and I could answer that.
Yes. Okay. Do you want to talk about the engineering then?
Oh, yeah, sure. Hello, Yusuf. I know about the engineering program. It's pretty chill. Wait, no, that's such a lie. It's not. It's not. I just said it, that I was like, no, actually, that's a lot of work. But the engineering program is really nice. I really liked it because it was super hands-on, which is why I did it. My first semester, I did this class called like Engineering 100, which every engineering student takes. And it was like engineering in our environment, and that's another really impactful class I had, because even if you're not interested in engineering, I would recommend it because it really helps you think about like how we design our world and like what inputs we put into that. And we got to make this like hammer/screwdriver thing, which is dusting on my bookshelf. But it's really fun and it's so cool. I would say that the engineering program, there's a lot of courses, there's a lot of things going on, but the department is really great. They're really hands-on. They have a lot of events. I'm still on their email list. And they have some things. I remember my first week, they had like a meeting if you're interested in engineering, and they gave us like a schedule of all the classes we'll need to take, everything else. So while it is a hard program, I would say, they really do a lot to make sure you're successful and that you're able to get through it.
It seems like, unfortunately, we don't really know a lot about the pre-med and pre-health. I recommend that you get into contact with the admissions office and see if there's anyone they can direct you to learn more about that. So, sorry about that.
Yeah.
But, for Slay M, for you, I think it would be really good for you to message the admissions office and ask about your degree. I think they would know the most about making sure that you would be able to make sure that it was compatible. I think we already answered that. So this one. So what is it like working and keeping up with homework?
So
well, we have the same job. Like,
I work, like this semester, I'm known to always have my homework finished a week before it's due, thankfully. But it's because I work in a library at night. It's a 3-hour block, and I just like do all my reading, start all my essays in that 3 hours, and then the next few days I can just like do little by little, and eventually it's done, even though it's like a lot of work, but it's still a good kind of work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this is like, I guess, work-life balance. So I work for the blog, and that's like where I get the majority of my hours, and so a lot of my work is online. But last year I worked like with America Reads at this daycare. It's like a 10-minute
Wait, which one
walk.
did you do?
It's like off campus. It's like a 10-minute walk behind Wilder.
Okay.
And that was really great, and I got to just like hold babies all day, which was really nice. The thing I would say about like working at Smith is it kind of depends on how you work, and there's different types of jobs. Like for us, we do the blogging, so a lot of our work is like remote, and we don't have to go into an office every day. Or Tari works at the library, and I have a lot of friends who work at the library, and they can just kind of study there. Or there's some jobs where you have to like be working or doing something the whole time, like dining or other things. You have to think about other times to do your work. So I'd say just kind of look at maybe what kind of job you're looking for. There's a ton to apply to all over campus, and you can really work out like a little scheduling to make sure you're getting both your work, like homework stuff, and your money,
definitely.
work and stuff.
Yeah.
To go together.
In my first year and sophomore year, I also did America Reads. I did a different program though. I did Homework House. So that's a bit different because it requires transportation to a different place. It seems like yours is like closer to campus. So that was theoretically a good time for me to do homework. I think I spent most of that time sleeping. So I mean, I missed my chance to do homework on the little vans. I think the first semester also is a difficult time trying to figure out that work, homework, life in general balance. Like, I think it's okay if you're a first year, you're kind of like stumbling around trying to figure out that perfect balance for yourself. But like, just understand that like you're going to figure it out eventually, and it really again like it depends on the person, like what kind of job you have. Like the fact that we have a remote job makes it easier for me to like do homework on the side, take a 10-minute break and work on the blog for a little bit, and then go back to homework. That's easier, but of course, like again, like for other jobs, like working in the dining halls, like you wouldn't have that kind of time. So it really depends.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but not many classes meet on Fridays, so it's like a good time to like that morning, afternoon to do some homework, get it done, since you might not have class, and then you have the weekend mostly free for yourself.
Yeah, I do it a lot too, but
Okay, we're just gonna move on.
Yep.
So Nina asked, if you don't have work study in your financial aid plan, is it hard to get a job? I had work study.
Me too.
Me too.
I've known people without work study who have gotten a job. I'd say I don't think it's hard to get a job. I just think there's maybe a little bit less of a pick for jobs. Like I know my friend works at the phone bank, and so that's like pretty easy to get. You should be able to get a job. It just might not be your top choice. Is what I would say.
Yeah, but also coming in as like a first year, like it's not necessarily like you might not get your first choice in jobs, and that's just how it is. It makes sense. So Vivian asks, what are your favorite places to study?
Here's a plug for the best library on campus, Jostin Library.
Yes.
It's so atmospheric. It's less. I don't want to slam the other libraries, but Jostin is the best because.
Is this the one you work at?
Yes, I work there. We have great carpeting. We have great seats. We have great lights. We have a nice mezzanine. People can go upstairs and just do work, or grab a piano. We have soundproof rooms. We just have the best facilities, and everyone who works here is like a family. So come to Jostin Library.
Don't you guys also like rent out like ukuleles or something?
Yes, you can get ukuleles as well.
Quick plug for Jostin.
I really like to study at my house, I would say. I study a lot in my like dining room, or I study a lot in Ford too, which is like the engineering science building, because it has a lot of light and I like sunlight. And I'd say my favorite library, not to start some beef, but I really like Hillier. They have these little, I guess they call them corrals, but they're just these little like study cubes, and they're really nice to focus in.
It's not the same.
Okay, I have something controversial to say.
Oh.
I like studying on my bed. Okay, it's fair that, like, if you work on your bed, the chances of you falling asleep in the middle of your work is higher. But do what you gotta do, you know what I mean? I don't know. I managed to get all my work done.
Oh my gosh.
Of course, it depends on you. Some people love to study in the campus center cafe booths, and that's like a really popular place. Some people like to study in the house living rooms. Some people like to go to the libraries. It's really varies wildly.
Now that the weather's nice, a big
Oh,
popular
yes.
study spot is there's like well, in the quad, which is like where we are, there's like a big grass area and people will lay out blankets and study there, or by the pond, or there's like Chapin Lawn. We have a lot of just expanses of grass.
Yeah. I mean, I love it.
Yeah, it's so nice to study there. I love to like put out a little blanket, sit in the sun.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah.
I cannot study on my bed. It's just a slippery slope. I maybe I shouldn't like tuck myself in and like turn on my bed warmer, but like
You turn on your bed
yeah,
warmer?
because then I feel really cozy. You know, I'm seeing the problems now. But
I will say I do tuck myself under my blanket and I lean against my pillows. So, yeah, I sometimes fall asleep, but sometimes it's because I needed it.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I tell myself when I go
Self-care.
to sleep at night,
Self-care.
literally. Yeah. Okay.
Is there one?
Okay.
Ooh, I don't.
Do you want to do this one?
Are there any more questions?
It's just that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's do that.
So this is an academic question, but Elizabeth wants to know how easy is it to get into the house you want?
I can say sorry.
No,
but
go ahead.
I can say that I know that it's kind of, you put your top choices of what parts of campus you want to live in, but I put in the questions, can I live in Duckett House? And I got it. So like, it's just nice to ask where they give you space.
You can give preferences. There's like, you choose the areas of campus you want, and then you can give preferences. And just a lot of people I know just put, if they have an exact house they want to live in, they put it there. But I would say our like room change kind of stuff is pretty flexible. So if you don't get into the house you want to, and you still don't like that house and you want to move to like the one you wanted to get into originally, that's really easy to do.
Yeah, but sometimes you end up liking the house that you get put into more, so it really depends. So unfortunately, that is the last question we can take. Thank you guys so much for joining us today in this YouTube Live. We have one more next week on Wednesday, right? So please come to that one as well. If you have any more questions, feel free to send it in to Smith by Smithies. That's another space where we can get students to help answer these very specific questions. So thank you guys so much.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.